All right. It's the second test of YouTube Live, starting about a minute early here. But if and when you jump on, give me a thumbs up or drop a comment. Let me know you can hear me. Of course, the trash is just coming around right now as I get started. So hopefully, won't get too noisy, and hopefully my dog Dash won't start barking like crazy. I still have not figured out how to share my screen on the YouTube Live yet. So if someone knows that, send it to me. I'll have to Google or something. But okay, great. Looks like we got, let's wait at 8:45. So give me a thumbs up or a comment if you can hear me so I know it's all working. All right, awesome. Thank you very much for that. And you can feel free to use the comments with any questions or things like that as well, guys, whether it's live or on the replay. I know it wasn't a ton of notice. I just sent out a thing going live at 5. But of course, you can, for those that miss it, you can watch the replay. Lots of people work in school and things like that. I wanted to start doing some of these live videos and replays just for our junior reign families, just for our kind of unique family here. And what I'll use it for is to kind of talk through some things that we're talking through just behind the scenes with our coaches meetings and our staff leadership meetings. And the best thing that I've learned over the last 10, 11 years of doing this is the best thing that I can do is when we have ideas or we have things that are coming up is talk about them first with our people, our best people and our families. And then a lot of times I get great feedback, questions, things that I thought maybe were clear that aren't, and then perfect it and mold it and adjust a little bit, and then make it a official part of our program or come out with something publicly. Putting something out into the whole, our email database is like 10,000 people or 20,000 people or something like that, just over the years and tournaments and everything that we do. But those aren't our people, right? Our kind of people are our 200 to 300 that are right with our organization. Those families and players that have been with us, and you guys give me the best feedback. So I'm going to start doing this more and more and sharing with you guys some of the stuff we're talking about behind the scenes. It's going to be rough. I haven't even figured out how to share my screen yet, so I'm not going to be able to. It's not going to be like perfect diagrams and stuff like that. I'm going to get your feedback, and then we're going to make that stuff rather than me make it all, or like registration links. If I'm talking about upcoming programs, none of that stuff's going to be ready. I'm going to talk about it with you guys first, and then make little adjustments and package it up. And then believe me, I'm not good at that stuff. Our team will take it and make it pretty and organized and all kind of stuff. And then we'll put it out. But that way, for those of you that are paying attention, for those of you that are watching along and watching live or on the replays, you're going to kind of know what's coming, and you're going to have the opportunity to give me some feedback before stuff becomes final, and you're going to have the opportunity to get in on stuff first, and usually with the best pricing and best opportunities and guaranteed space and stuff like that, whatever it is, with whatever we're rolling out, if we continue to do this. So what I want to go over today is just share with you guys something that I did with our coaches on Wednesday morning. We did an experiment with the coach, and it went really well, and we did with our staff, our leadership staff, the day before, Tuesday morning. And it's something that I've experimented with in the past, but I've really taken to another level now. And what it's called is a mindset scorecard. And what I want some of you guys may have helped me experiment with this in the past. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do, what we're trying to do as an organization, is get super clear on what it means to be successful here at the junior reign. And what are we striving for? We want to have a shared language, a shared set of values that we say, yes, this is what we're striving for, and this is how we define success, and this is the kind of program that we value, and so the coaches and the staff and the families and the players can all be on the same page as far as this is how we're successful. Because if you don't have that shared language, if you don't have that shared, like, okay, this is our standards of excellence, and this is what we're trying to do, then you could have a coach, a parent, and a player all on different pages as far as what's important to them, and you're not going to get any results. Ultimately, our job is to get you, your player, and for the family's results, the result that you want, or bigger and better than the result that you want, whether that's your big goals, the experience, the development, the progress, those types of things. Our job is to help you get that result. And your job is also to get to utilize the programming to the maximum of your abilities to get that result. And that's how everyone wins. If we're on different pages and we all want different things and we're all striving in different directions, no one's going to get the results that they want. And so it's important to define this and come up with a clear set of language and agreements that this is what we do here, so that people that fits them, that it should fit your natural. It should feel like, yeah, like that's what I want to strive towards, for your player and your family. Because if it doesn't, it's not going to work. So this club is not going to be the right fit for your family if these things are completely diametrically opposed to what you believe and feel for your family or for your player, and that's totally okay. The point is that we have a clear definition, and other clubs may have a different definition of what's important or what it means to be successful there, and other clubs may be a better fit for certain families. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how many other clubs will actually clearly define that so that you know what the right fit is, and it may be dependent on which team it is, which coach. But it's not really any of my business. What I know is that we need to define this for ourselves so that families and players know if this is a club that they want to be a part of. And then now if it is, then we can say, okay, here's what we're striving towards, and we can make a plan and take steps towards achieving those things, and that will actually deliver results. And if we do that, I believe that we can deliver results bigger and better than what many even think is possible, because we have seen it in the past. We have seen those players that we're not the top players, that had lower confidence and all these things, just thrive and become elite, highest level, 18 AAA, some of the best players in the state, getting drafted into junior leagues, going on to college. There's things from young, small, shy, non-confident, lower end player to that, based on the character and the shared set of values and mindsets, which I'm going to share with you right now. So here's what we did. We went through this with our coaches the other day, like I said, and our staff leadership, and we had a really powerful discussion. And what it's going to see, you're actually going to see, just like the other day, there's going to be an actual visual for this, and you're going to have an opportunity to fill it out. And anyone that's coming into our organization, we're going to ask that they fill this out in advance so they can see if they're a good fit. Let's not waste anyone's time, their time or ours, if someone's just not a good fit for the organization. You all know what it's like to have someone on your team that is not a value or mindset fit, and it doesn't help anybody. It could be a coach or a volunteer as well. That's why it's important we start at the top of this. So it's called a mindset scorecard. And essentially down the left-hand side, there's 8 mindsets that we've defined as, this is this is all done from experience of the players and families and coaches that have gotten the most and been the most successful in our organization. It's not like I made this up. This is just capturing and putting the data down in words of the people that were most successful, happiest, and most successful for the big, achieving their goals, these things. This is the mindsets they had. And this is the mindsets our staff had that are successful and that we're striving towards. So there's 8 mindsets. And then along the top, there's 4 columns, and it's kind of a ranking from 1 to 12. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to read the mindsets, and I'm going to read just the worst. So if you're a number 1 out of 12, and I'm going to read the best if you're a number 12 out of 12. And what I'd love you to do is get a little pencil and paper and mark down for yourself from 1 to 8. Okay, there's 8 mindsets, and then from 1 to 12, where you fall on that 1 to 12 spectrum, where you think you fall. And so the important thing to know is that nobody's perfect. I'm not getting 12s out of 12 on all of these things. These, as I read them to you, they should kind of challenge you a little bit. Some of them will be higher, like, oh yeah, I'm really high on that one. Oh, or that one shows up for me sometimes kind of low. The point is that we define it. We say, hey, yes, I agree. We're striving towards 12s here because these are all Awesome. And that's who I want to be and how I want to show up. It's also important to know that these are state and situation dependent. So some of these mindsets, you may show up a certain way at work, at your job, or at school. And then in hockey, maybe because you're less confident, or whatever it is, you may show up sometimes differently. Or if you're tired, or if you're whatever, grumpy or hungry or whatever, you may show up differently. Again, the point is to bring this all to our awareness so that we can so we can talk to each other. So if I'm a coach and a player and a parent, we're on the same page with what we're striving, and they show up a certain way, I can say, hey, this, remember what we talked about with this. And then it can bring it to your awareness quickly, and we can actually get bigger and better results fast. We can get out of that little valley there, that moment in time. Same thing with me, and that's what I encourage our staff is any one of us, we have to give each other permission, psychological safety, that we could say, hey, and call each other out. Say if we're showing up as lower on the scale in a mindset, so we can bring it to awareness quickly. So rather than staying in that kind of grumpy, like victim, loser mentality type thing, which we all get into when we're feeling down on ourselves, or we're feeling tired, or something's going on at home, or whatever it is, we can bring it to each other's attention. We can bring it to our awareness, and then we can get out of that quick and get back into the high performance champions mindset that we want to be in. That's right. Because if we're in this, if your child is playing club hockey, right? This isn't recreational hockey, right? This is I believe you're making a decision for your child. I don't care if it's Mike B or Mike Gretzky. You're making a decision that you're wanting your child to learn to be the best they can be. Now, we don't know what that's going to be for everybody at the end of the day, but we want them striving to be the best that they can be. And we want them to take that and apply it to every area of their life. Because with those lessons and those mindsets you learn, you can apply to anything. If you learn how to drive through challenge and be inspired and all these things that I'm gonna share with you in a minute, I promise, you can do that anywhere. So this isn't just show up, mess around, and whatever. This is show up your best, challenge yourself, raise the level of your standard to be the best that you can be at all times. And that's as an athlete, as a person, as a teammate, as a leader, all these things. Okay, so that's what these mindsets are striving towards, and that's why we want to rank ourselves and have something that we're striving towards. And I'll give you a little bit more insight on it. So what's going to happen is, as I finalize this and I get your feedback and things, there's going to be a scorecard, and like I said, so 1 to 12, and the 8 mindsets down here, and then as you rank along 1 to 12. There's 4 different kind of levels along that thing. And what we're shooting for is the top, and that's 10, 11, 12 ranking. That's when you're in that transformational mindset. Like that's how you're transforming, you're constantly evolving and getting better in that transformational mindset. That's what we're shooting for. I don't show up that way in every one of these mindsets I'm going to read to you, and I wrote these. Okay, so the point part is knowing. The bottom end, 1, 2, 3, it's really a failure mindset. And I'm just sorry to be blunt, but if you're in that bottom and you're showing up there, again, you can change this at any time if you decide during awareness. If you're showing up in it, it's a failure type mindset. If you're applying that mindset to something that you're doing, it's going to fail, and you'll understand as I read it to you. After the failure mindset, so 4, 5, 6, you'll see this visually. That's frustration. That's not bad. That's not a bad thing. Being in frustration shows that like you want to get towards that transformational, but for whatever reason you're having a hard time with it. It may be just a certain thing that's like predisposition to you. People struggle with different things. It may be something based on your experience, or it could be like for someone who's in not a good situation. So for example, we see this all the times. If someone who's really our kind of people, or in another club with a different philosophy or mindset or value system, and they're there, but they really want like growth, and they want ambition, and they want these things that I'm going to share with you, but they're like, the environment just doesn't support it, and they're just really frustrated. That's okay, and those mindsets, because it means that we're striving towards something greater, and then we bring awareness to it so we can do that. The dangerous one is the third one, before transformation and after frustration. So what is that, like 7, 8, 9, I think. 7 and 9. If you fall in there, the dangerous one is that can fall into status. And so things are going pretty good, But the danger there is when you kind of go into that range, the status, you can start to think that you're good. You don't need to kind of like you're already one of the better players. You're already kind of experienced. You've been around for a while. You know how this all works. You know it all. You don't need to kind of get any feedback from anybody else. You don't need to be kind of challenged or pushed any further because you're good. You're good enough as is. So you're kind of doing good, but we've seen this a lot of times with early high performers, like for that kid who's maybe like really good when they're 8, they're the best player, and they're the best player when they're 9, and they're the best player when they're 10, and they're the best player when they're 11. And then some of the kids who are like middle to bottom, they're not. So they're working like really, really hard, and they're trying to become better because they're frustrated. They want to be the best. And then all of a sudden you get to 14, 15, 16, and that kid was like just kind of easy for them the whole time because they grew faster, they were a good athlete, whatever. They started earlier, all these things. They just don't have the same work ethic anymore because it's always kind of come easy. And now this other guy that's been like just grinding and just like dreaming and thinking and trying to be better and asking for extra help and coaching and whatever it is, they have this instilled work ethic and like drive and ambition to be great. And now when it gets tough at those 15, 16, 17, 18 ages, the other kid it's like not easy anymore. And they're like, they don't know how to work through that. And so they just think that they got it already. So that's dangerous. So we want to identify ourselves into that, identify where we're frustrated. We want to become transformational, or we want to show up in that transformational mindset as often as possible, or get to there as quickly as possible. We follow it. So finally, I'm 15 minutes in. I'm actually going to share with you these mindsets. Like I said, grab a piece of paper. If best thing, grab a piece of paper and jot something quick down, or even type it. Or if you can't do that, if you're driving or something, just make mental note. Rank yourself 1 to 12 on these 8 mindsets. And I would love your feedback. And you can drop comments. You can reply to my email that I sent out with this link. And that would be really helpful as I put this and finalize the language and actually make this a scorecard. We'll package it up. We'll make it something that's like super easy to fill out. It's like a tool. You'll get it. And you can actually like go in and rank yourself and save it and read it and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, we'll definitely share that. And then we're going to have it as kind of like a gateway. Like if you're going to come into this club, we want to know kind of where you sit here, because like I said, we don't want to waste your time. We don't want to waste your money. We don't want to affect other people in the team and the organization if it's not going to be a good fit. It's just a lot more work and kind of hassle for everyone when we have people that it's not like they're bad people. It's just like if it's not going to be good, if someone falls on the bottom of these mindsets consistently, and that's where they want to be, or they're like they're good, they know it all kind of thing. It's going to, the amount of time and effort and emotion it's going to cost everyone. It's just not worth it. So it's better that we define this here. Here we go. So the mindsets, the first one, the number one, and you hear me talk about this all the time, and there's no real order in this as far as one's better than the other. They're all just as important. The first one, and some of the language was initially created for coaches. So I'm going to give you an example of, this is the same for our coaches, our staff, our families, and our players. So I'll give you different examples of how it might apply to a player or a family. So number one is ambition. Okay, ambition is our first mindset or value. And I talked about this a lot. I talked about this yesterday, the other day's video. The worst, okay, so the bottom end of the scale. And our coaches ranked themselves on this the other day, which was really, really insightful. The worst is you see your biggest growth and achievements as being in the past. You're just holding on to what you have. Your best days are behind you, and you long for the days when you were playing. So the coach, right, when they used to be playing in their glory days, right? Or when things were like the good old days, before the game changed, before kids changed, before et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point. I don't have the middle 2 columns of frustration and status done yet. So I'm going to go right to the best. So this is the transformational, how you show up in the transformational mindset of ambition. You see that everything you've done in the past is just preparation for much greater growth, progress, and achievement. You are excited about making your future so much bigger than your past, and you know you are learning and growing every day towards something much bigger. So that's ambition. Rank yourself 1 to 12. I would love to know your final scores. If you would send it to me or type in the comments, that'd be awesome. You know, the great thing that I had our coaches do, share with me where you, like the one that you was one or two that were your best, that you showed up best. You felt like, yeah, those ones like I really show up well here. And then your one or two worst, because our coaches and a lot of us had some similar ones. Some areas that were like, oh, that one's something that's risky for me. That one is something I got to be aware of. And this is where I was at my best. Okay, so number one was ambition. Number two, inspiration. Inspiration. The worst is you just mail it in. You do the minimum required or even less when others aren't watching, just to get through the day, the practice or the game, etc. Right? Just kind of minimum standard, or like coach stops looking, stop working hard. No one notices anyways. That kind of stuff, right? It's going to be difficult to have success in our organization if you show up that way. On the best side, transformational side, so the other end of the spectrum, you have a deep why that is long-lasting and long-term, coming from within as a deep purpose that gives energy to others. You inspire others with positivity, not motivate them with fear. You are filled with creative ideas and energy to grow and improve from a never-ending energy source within you. So it's inspiring in spirit, something coming from within, some passion and purpose coming from inside you that you bring to your team, to the rink, to the other families, to your players, to all this stuff. That's what inspiration is a critical mindset for us. 1 to 12. Okay, number 3, gratitude. Gratitude. The worst on gratitude. You constantly focus on what you don't have, what's not good enough, what's not working. You're a victim of circumstance and blame others for your lack of opportunity and all that is not ideal. It's someone else's fault. This is the victim mindset, right? It's someone else's fault. It's because it's, all these, nothing's working, nothing's right. I don't have what I need, all this kind of things, excuses, right? And focusing on the negative. It's a focus on the negative, which our brains can naturally do. So it's one that we can fall into. On the best side, the transformational side for gratitude, you have learned how to appreciate even the smallest things around you. And thus you add value to all things and people around you by focusing on what you have and growing that from a place of positivity that inspires others to do the same. You view the organization, your colleagues, your facilities, your team, and your players this way. You make a conscious decision to notice what's working first and catch people being good all the time, so you can build on that positive energy and confidence of all those around you, right? You can imagine an environment that just where everyone is striving to show up in that way. So 1 to 12. So we've had ambition, we have inspiration, we have gratitude so far. We're almost halfway there. Next one, collaboration. Collaboration. On the worst side, the bottom side, you view others' unique abilities as a threat to your own status and value. You attempt to keep yourself isolated with a high status compared to others in the organization or on your team, right? So you can see like the player who doesn't want someone else to be successful, right? They don't want to pass because they don't want them to get the credit, or they don't want, whatever, right? They don't want to like help each other because they want to be ahead. They don't want them to catch up to them, that kind of stuff on the bottom. And they're all in it for themselves. On the best side for collaboration, you view yourself as part of a unique ability team who all bring their unique talents together to achieve something greater than any one individual could do on their own. You enjoy being part of a team, believing that together each achieves more. You know that the stronger and more successful each individual component is, the stronger the team is, and the stronger you are as a result. You actively look for ways to help others, even outside of the areas of your direct responsibility. So the example is the kid who helps out the kid on the other team, or the new parent who's coming in, who's doesn't know some stuff. They're actively go help them out, even when it wasn't really their job to do that. Or the coach helps out the other team and covers for them when the coach is away or something like that, right? You bring your ideas and things that are working for you to the whole club, team, group, and you also seek out the best ideas and practices from others so you can improve yourself. Okay, so that's collaboration. 1 to 12. Rank yourself 1 to 12. Number 5, And drop comment, guys, or a thumbs up so I know you're with me too. Number 5 mindset is courage. Okay, on the worst side, you succumb to pressure from your environment and you make decisions to appease others, even when you know it is not the best decision. You avoid uncomfortable conversations and are fearful of expressing your beliefs, leading to resentment and weakening of your relationships with others in the organization, right? So you have something that's bothering you, whatever, but you don't talk to the coach, you don't talk to the player about it, you don't talk to the organization about it, or you see something that's just not right and you don't say anything, you don't do anything about it. On the best side, okay, on the transformational side, you do the right thing even when it's hard. You address challenges and issues head on, whether that's having a meeting, a team meeting, or you bring in key concerns to the club so they can be handled and all parties can move forward. You regularly challenge yourself to take leaps into the unknown and uncomfortable, where all growth occurs. Your willingness to get out of your comfort zone and learn new things, even when they challenge your most core beliefs. Okay, so 1 to 12 for courage. Okay, number six out of 8, radical humility. Interesting one. On the worst side, you feel that you are entitled to respect and have anger and resentment towards others who do not show you what you deserve. You continually feel offended and you may even lash out. And this is to our coaches and stuff too, right? When parents or players or officials or rink staff or league board members, they do not show you the respect that you clearly deserve based on your higher knowledge and experience or intelligence than them. That's the worst side of radical humility. On the transformational, on the best side, you keep an open mind and a learner attitude and ask for help. You can ask for help when knowing that you cannot possibly know everything. You have empathy towards other points of view different than yours, and you resist ego, the need to be right, the need to be inferior, the need to be superior, the need to be offended and angry in your interactions with staff, parents, players, officials, and all those around you. You sit back and observe your own emotions and open your mind to what you can learn from the situation and to new possibilities of understanding. Like it or not, these are recipes for success, especially in a challenging and emotional and intense fast sport like hockey. If, as a player, as a parent in the stands, as a coach on the bench, if you cannot take an intense emotional situation and stop and observe your emotions and make good decisions and be open and receptive to new information that's presenting itself. Hey, this referee is a brand new referee. How can I show up in a situation that maximizes my success here versus, how dare they, all this stuff, right? And it could show up that's one example. It could show up in a million different examples. This is not a judgment on people. This is a recipe for success. And I have shown up on the negative side of these countless times with my own kids, with our staff, with parents in our organization, with referees, myself. The point is to define these and strive for better. And that's how we can become great and become a championship, a level organization, and help each one of our families and players achieve goals, like I said, bigger than what you even could imagine. I know and I've seen that it's possible. Number 7 mindset is total accountability. Total accountability. Ranking yourself 1 to 12 again here. On the worst side of things, you just do as you're told, and you're a victim of your circumstance. You are not even aware of or thinking about all of the key issues or opportunities for success within your areas of leadership or responsibilities. This can apply to players and families as well. Or you don't feel it's your place to address, or you feel that you just shouldn't have to deal with this. So this can apply to, as obviously coach leading a team, but also as a player with your own, your own performance and your own progress and development, or a family in supporting your child towards that, or myself in how our organization is developing and growing, right? It's and how we're delivering on our promise. This is all applied to everybody in our organization. On the transformational side, you take total ownership over every area of leadership And everyone can be a leader, a family, or a player as well. You take total ownership over every area of leadership and the result of that area, regardless of the circumstances, Key thing for young kids to learn. You clearly communicate and follow through until the result is achieved, and you ask for help and communicate if you will fall short. I will be late for practice because I didn't prepare my bag or communicate with my husband, or as a player, I forgot my skates, and I'm apologize. It won't happen again. I'm taking accountability, right? Or there's a million examples, right? You own your response to every situation. You're able to respond no matter the circumstances. No blame, shame, or justification. It's because that. You have integrity, meaning you do what you say. You are honest and true to yourself and others. You are authentic, and you have the mentality that I am totally accountable for what happens to me. It's on me. And if everyone shows up that way, every player, every coach, every person in the organization, no one's going to be perfect. But we're striving to say, if we can't take accountability for it, we can't improve it. If I can't say, hey, you know what? The organization fell short here. We need to be better. If a coach can't say that with their team, if a player can't say that, and if a parent can't say that with how they support their player, kids late all the time, they're missing dry land, whatever, they're not prepared, or they're not communicating with the coach what's going on, whatever it is. There's a million examples, right, for every level of the organization. If we can't own it, then we can't actually improve it. Because if it's always someone else's fault, it's not our fault, there's excuses, whatever, it's just nothing's ever going to change. Okay, so total accountability, 1 to 12. Number 8, the final mindset. And I planned about a 10-minute video so you could see how I'm passionate. I like to talk about this stuff. Number 8 is always growing. On the worst side, okay, you feel that external changes are both confusing and threatening. You wish things would just stay the same and not have so much new stuff to learn all the time. Right? The game is always changing, and in the levels and everything, as you go up, things change as well. Kids are changing, growing. On the best transformational side, your greatest satisfaction comes from continually measuring your increasing skills and results in every area of your life. Your greatest satisfaction comes from continually measuring your increasing skills and results in every area of your life. You are excited to learn new things, your skills and capabilities, so that you can continue to get bigger and bigger results. This is a mindset that shows up in every area of your life. So always growing. Again, so 8 mindset, 1 to 12, 8 mindsets, 1 to 12. You should have a total score. You should have areas where like these are ones I really show up well, and these others I really got to be aware of. These are areas where, Ben, I think you're full of crap, and I don't like this, whatever. I would love your feedback. I would love to hear how this lands for you. Some of these kind of hit me right in the gut and the heart, because again, I did this based on experience of thinking about and visualizing families and players and coaches that have had the most success in general, but especially within our organization. As you can see, when you see this in the visual, when you see it in words, I'll share with you guys what's written out and everything. If we don't have people that adopt the same common language and a common goal of this is what we're striving towards, it's just what we don't. I don't want a club where we just got a bunch of people in not getting results, like just playing on the team because that's the one that's like closest to them or whatever. Like there's just no point, right? Like we're not just doing something. Dr. Jeff Spencer, who I've shared some stuff with before, he says like we're not trying to build a silver medal team here. You know, we're not just like putting mediocre and ordinary. There's lots of hockey clubs. There's I think 3,500 hockey clubs in the country. We didn't create a hockey club just to create another hockey club. Like it already existed. Why do we need to do that? There's already there, right? We don't want to be ordinary. We want to be extraordinary. And the point is to be extraordinary. You don't just do the same thing that everyone else does. So you got to be willing to challenge yourself and raise the level of the standard. And it doesn't mean you're going to be perfect and you're going to know the answers and we can't predict the future. All we can do is bring the future into being by striving to be great. And that means that as an organization, we need to constantly be evolving. We need to constantly be improving. We need to constantly be challenging ourselves and saying we didn't show up our best here and we need to be better. And that's what we the standard that we've come to expect now of our staff, of our coaches, and then of our players and our families as well. Because if you don't have that same goal, like, I mean, the amount of time and money that you invest in playing club hockey, you're already investing a tremendous amount. So let's strive to be great. We don't want anyone showing up and just kind of like getting mediocre and average results. That's just, you're not going to be happy, and we're not going to be happy. And it's just, there's just, what's the point, right? There's in-house, and there's, whatever recreational stuff, and mini hockey or whatever for that kind of stuff. So hopefully that's not too direct or anything, but like we're striving to be champions. We're striving to be great. And that's the scoreboard. It is the scoreboard. That's the standings. And we want to, and our goal is to be great and to be the best there. And we have a long way to go in a lot of areas. But it's also, and it's also how we show up. How do we treat each other? What kind of people are we? How do we represent our families? How do we represent our organization? How do we represent our city? Who are, right? What kind of family parents are we becoming? What kind of career people are we becoming? What kind of citizens are we becoming? And are we learning to be great in every area of our life? And that is our goal. So thank you guys for listening. And bearing with me this morning. It's something, like I said, I kind of got up this morning with a lot in my heart to share in this. I love sharing with you guys first and getting your feedback. This is kind of an inside video. It's like, wasn't like, email blasted out or anything. It's just sent to you guys. So as we finalize and package this up and make it official and make it pretty and everything like that, our team does that. We have a great team of people that can make awesome graphics and all that kind of stuff. Let me know. Send me, drop a comment with your rankings, or like your best and worst, or stuff that you like, or stuff that you think is crap. Send me back an email and let me know what you think. And I'll be doing another one of these videos. The next one, I'm going to give you a little bit of inside what's coming up for next season and for spring stuff, so that our junior families kind of hear about that stuff first and give me some more feedback and get the first opportunity for things that are coming up. So thank you guys, and I'll talk to you next time. It may start doing these probably multiple times a week, so I'll give you a little heads up in the email when I'm going live. But again, if you miss it, I'll leave a replay at the link for you guys. Talk to you later.